Welcome to the deep dive. This is where we tackle some really complex, sometimes pretty out there source material, ancient texts, channeled work, you name it.
hmm
And we try to boil it down, pull up the core ideas, basically give you a shortcut to getting your head around some big concepts.
And today, we're definitely jumping into the deep end. This is one of the most, well, intense spiritual concepts we've really looked at.
Yeah, it sounds like it. We're going beyond, typical ideas of relationship.
Far beyond. We're exploring sacred ecstatic union. You might sometimes hear it called hierosothigamo. That's the Greek term.
Okay.
And the sources for this, look, they're not easy. It's a really esoteric mix. We're talking late-stage Gnostic stuff, modern workbooks related to A Course in Miracles, and deep dives into ancient Egyptian mystery traditions.
Right, so that tells you straight away this isn't going to be like light Sunday reading.
Not at all.
Yeah.
These are ideas that fundamentally question the reality we just accept day to day.
So our mission here, our goal for this deep dive is really important. We need to carefully define what this union actually is according to these texts, and then map out what they say are the big barriers, the psychological stuff, the energetic stuff that stops it from happening.
And finally, yeah, distill the potential, the huge transformative power it's supposed to hold. Not just for you personally, but these sources claim it impacts, well, planetary consciousness.
Wow. Okay.
So for this journey, you, the listener, you really need to be willing to just entertain a radically different view of reality, just for the next, say, 30, 40 minutes.
Got it. An open mind is key.
Absolutely key, because the core idea, the thing everything else hangs on, is this. Pursuing union, whether that's with a partner, a supposed twin soul, or even the divine, it's not about finding the right dating profile.
Right. It's not about compatibility quizzes.
Not at all. It's described as an alchemical process. And it's entirely rooted in one thing: successfully dismantling that deep, deep belief that we're separate, that we're just temporary physical bodies in a kind of random, often hostile universe.
So if you can undo that belief.
If you can truly undo that, the union, they say, just naturally happens. It manifests.
Okay, let's really break that down then, that foundational idea. Because, like you said, everything else seems to follow from it. The spiritual path, the energy work, it all starts here.
It does. And the sources, they don't mince words. They're radical on this point. This world, the one that seems so solid, so real.
Yeah, the one I stubbed my toe on.
Exactly. That world, they say, is simply not the ultimate reality. It's presented as a world of illusion, or a dream, or maybe a temporary stage where we're just, well, actors playing roles.
So this idea of illusion, that's like step one for the learner, the foundation.
It's the absolute starting point. If you're going to engage with this material, you have to grapple with this first. Your physical body, the Egyptians called it the cot, it's just a container.
Okay, the cot.
Yeah, it's the central figure of the dreaming world, as one text puts it. But it's not who you are. Your true reality, your eternal identity, is spirit. Pure love. That's the non-negotiable definition.
And the twist is, we're not even the ones dreaming it up.
Well, not individually, in the way we usually think. It's more like we are the dream itself. We're the projection sort of wandering through scenes the collective dream mind creates.
Wow. Okay, so if it's all a dream, that changes everything about suffering, doesn't it? Pain, loss.
Yeah.
It stops being like a fundamental truth.
It becomes optional, or at least its interpretation becomes optional. Things like pain, loss, sickness, fear. The sources are really explicit here. They are not real damage to your eternal self.
Not permanent injuries.
Exactly. They're defined purely as errors in thought. And they all stem from that one single original mistake. The belief that we separated from God, from source, from oneness.
Just one mistake.
That's what they claim. That original belief in separation is the only thought that actually needs healing. Everything else we worry about, every illness, every failed relationship, every fear, it's just a symptom of that one core error.
The implication there is just huge. If I think I'm suffering, I'm basically mistaking the dream for reality.
You're buying into the illusion, yeah.
Yeah.
And the body becomes the focus point for that confusion. It's the most obvious symbol of being separate, right?
It feels very separate.
So it ends up carrying the weight of that mental error. There's actually a really startling idea in one of the channeled texts about this.
Oh, yeah.
It suggests that the mind, the deeper mind, the cause, is actually blank. It's preoccupied with nothing real, nothing eternal. And all the thoughts we pile up about the world politics, success, who slighted us, it's all based on false data.
False data.
Metaphorically, it's like you're resting perfectly safely in God, but you're choosing to dream these awful, terrifying scenarios. And the dream feels real, but nothing about your true divine nature has actually been affected.
Okay, that leads us straight into the idea of conflict then. If we're truly all one, then every fight, every war, every little disagreement, it must come from that same error, mistaken identity.
That's the logic. It all starts the moment you identify as the body. When you say, this body is me,
Hmm.
that creates an immediate conflict
Between what?
between that perceived self, the small, scared, physical bit, and your true self, the holy self, the Son of God, which is just limitless love. And the ego is the force that's born from that split.
The ego, always the troublemaker.
Well, in this framework, yes. Its whole drive is to be alone, to be separate, and critically, to be special.
Okay, hold on. Special. That word can mean different things. We talk about special talents or a special purpose. Isn't that sometimes good? Like unique.
That's a really important distinction the sources make. Having a unique talent or purpose, that's seen as the expression of your true self. It flows naturally from oneness without effort.
Okay.
Specialness, on the other hand, that's the ego's game. It's this frantic need to create value by comparing yourself to others, by separating.
I'm better than, or I'm worse than.
Exactly. I have to be smarter or richer or more spiritual or even more victimized than you just to feel like I exist. That desire for specialness is the ultimate trap because it instantly creates judgment.
And that judgment, that messes up the energy field you need for this union we're talking about.
Completely. The ego feeds on fear, attack, judgment. It just runs wild in the mind. If it can't find someone else to attack, it turns inward. Self-hatred. Or it drags up guilt about the past.
Anything to keep the separation going.
Anything. And here's the direct link to the goal. Those high, fine energies, the specific frequency you need for sacred union, they simply cannot flow where these primal, fear-based ego reactions are dominant.
So judging someone isn't just like morally questionable. It physically blocks your own spiritual progress.
It's presented as a direct energetic consequence. There's even a specific example given about consuming low-frequency stuff.
Like what?
Like media focused on extreme violence or certain kinds of pornography. The sources say this creates a really base, almost animalistic association with power and sex, and consuming that actively prevents raising the divine, loving energies through the body.
So the energy of judgment, of fear, it's like corrosive.
Exactly. You can't reach this state of union if your energy system is constantly being polluted by it.
Yeah.
So getting a handle on the ego, dissolving its grip, it's not just philosophy. It's a practical, energetic necessity for any kind of sacred connection.
Okay, so if that's the problem, how do these traditions describe the moment you fix it? The moment that separation error gets
I
corrected?
call it the holy instant. And this is really key. Understanding oneness, truly getting it, isn't necessarily something that takes years and years of struggle.
Oh.
It can happen in an instant. The very moment you choose to accept the correction, the different perspective offered by what they call the Holy Spirit or your inner guide.
So all the spiritual practices, the lessons,
Right.
what are they for then?
Their only purpose, according to these texts, is to remove the barriers we put up against understanding. The resistance, the fear, the attachments. The path is just about clearing away those self-imposed obstacles.
And when you make that choice, that clear choice to end separation, that leads to what the teachings call atonement. We really need to unpack that word because it carries a lot of baggage for people.
It really does. And in this specific esoteric context, it's crucial to understand atonement, sometimes spelled at-one-ment, is defined simply as the state of total oneness.
Okay, not about paying for sins or anything like that.
No, not about appeasing an angry God. It's the divine correction for that original mistake, that idea of separation. When you accept atonement for yourself, you're basically withdrawing all judgment from the Son of God.
Which includes everyone, myself included.
Everyone, yourself included. You're accepting everyone and yourself exactly as God created them. Perfect, whole, eternal.
And the way you do that, the mechanism is forgiveness.
Forgiveness is the engine. Through radical forgiveness, you actively undo that mistaken choice for separation. You choose salvation instead. And this state, atonement, total oneness, it's presented as the only real cure for everything that seems wrong. It's a complete system reset for the mind.
Right, so if separation is the core problem and total oneness or atonement is the destination, then forgiveness is the way you get there, the vehicle.
It's absolutely central. But like we touched on, the definition of forgiveness here is, well, it's radical. It's not just a human transaction like, I forgive you for dinging my car.
It's deeper than saying sorry or even excusing bad behavior.
Much deeper. In this framework, forgiveness is the ultimate alchemical key because it's the actual undoing of fear. And crucially, it's the denial of the world's reality as something separate and acting on its own.
Denying its reality. How so?
True forgiveness means seeing the world and everything in it, people, animals, even objects, as part of you. Recognizing the underlying unity. It's the tool the Holy Spirit uses to transform that ego drive for specialness from a source of sin, of separation, into a pathway to salvation, to oneness.
Okay, that idea about why we suffer, the paradox of suffering you mentioned, that's probably one of the toughest parts of this whole framework for me to wrap my head around. It completely flips how we normally see things.
It really does. It means stopping that ingrained habit of seeing ourselves as victims, victims of circumstance, victims of other people.
So what's the paradox?
The channel teachings suggest something profound. That we, as eternal souls, actually choose to experience things that seem bad or painful.
We choose them. Why on earth would we do that?
Precisely to give ourselves the chance to practice this radical, non-judgmental forgiveness. It's like a self-designed spiritual workout program.
So the horrible boss, the betrayal, the illness, it's all prearranged by my soul.
To give your mind the opportunity to choose peace and love instead of fear and attack. The suffering, in this view, isn't actual permanent damage. It's just an opportunity for growth, a chance to pick a different thought. And when you finally learn the lesson, the pain was designed to teach the lesson of forgiveness. The need for that painful situation just dissolves.
And the effects of this forgiveness, even if things don't change immediately on the outside, on the physical level, the results are guaranteed somewhere else.
Absolutely. The sources really emphasize this. Forgiveness is fundamentally an unseen act first. It's a shift in your mind. It might not be obvious right away in the world of form.
Like I could forgive someone and they might never even know, or they might keep doing the same hurtful thing.
Exactly. But the results always happen in the realm of spirit. In heaven or the causal realm, whatever term you prefer. That's where the real change occurs, accelerating your mind back towards that state of total oneness.
Okay, let's get practical then. If someone listening accepts this, maybe tentatively, how do they actually start? How do you do this kind of forgiveness when you're feeling angry or hurt? It sounds nice, forgive your enemies, but...
Yeah, the reality is tough. The path starts gently, though. It begins inside, with looking honestly at your resentments. What really bugs you? Who are you holding on to anger towards?
Okay, identify the target.
Yes. But then, the initial instruction is simple but powerful. Don't get lost in the anger. Don't replay the stories that they did over and over. Don't judge them for it. Instead, just picture them and put a white light around them.
White light, just visualize that.
Visualize the person, the images, the stories you hold about them in your mind, and just surround it all with white light. Don't engage the hatred, just bathe the whole mental picture in light.
That's the point of doing just that. Seems passive.
It's like energetic first aid. By focusing on light instead of the injury details, you're stopping those low-frequency ego thoughts from digging in deeper. You're making a conscious choice to change the energy around it. And that simple act, they say, starts to profoundly shift the energy of the relationship and definitely your inner state.
And this act of blessing or forgiveness, it's called a miracle.
Because a blessing is forgiveness, and forgiveness is a healing. Miracles, in this context, are defined as these sudden shifts in perception that bring healing. And they happen when we extend love to each other.
So it requires extending mercy even to people we see as, well, enemies.
Absolutely. And this ties into that idea of spiritual contracts or roles.
Ah, yeah, the bad guy role. Explain that a bit more. That's another challenging one.
The idea is that many of the people who push our buttons the most, the ones who seem cruel or betray us or just make life difficult, they might have actually agreed on a soul level before this life to play that challenging role for us.
Agreed to be the villain in my story.
Sort of. Their function is to challenge us right where our biggest lessons are, to force us to choose. Separation, attack, fear, or oneness, forgiveness, love. The teachings say you should thank your friends, yes, but also thank your enemies, because neither could fulfill their teaching purpose without the other. It completely reframes victimization.
It really does. And it sounds like it always circles back to forgiving myself, doesn't it? If I chose the lesson, I ultimately have to forgive myself for needing it.
Precisely. It becomes a self-forgiveness loop. The pain we feel is ultimately our own responsibility stemming from that first mistaken belief in separation. So only our own condemnation, our own judgment of ourselves can truly hurt us. We have to forgive that original guilt, the choice to forget who we really are.
And when you start doing that, accepting you're not condemned.
You begin to accept the divine correction, the atonement, for all those other fearful thoughts too.
Okay. So from practicing forgiveness, the goal is to move into a more sustained state, a way of being. The sources call it grace. If forgiveness is the car, grace is like the highway you're driving on.
That's a good way to put it. Grace is defined really powerfully. It's the state of loving in a loveless place. It's this profound non-reaction. It allows you to observe the dream, the illusion, without getting sucked into his drama or fear. It carries your mind right past this world, in a sense.
And the way to achieve that is act as if.
Pretty much. The practice is to live as though you already believe you are one. That is living in grace. It's an internal state, a belief system that stays steady even when the outside world is chaotic.
And maintaining that stability that lets you recognize your true identity.
Yes, because your true identity is eternally in love, completely shared with God. So the conscious daily practice becomes bless everything, all living things, with love, with forgiveness. Actively monitor your thoughts and consciously choose to change the ones that hurt, whether they seem to hurt you or someone else.
Because we're all connected. What I send out, I get back.
Exactly. And the ultimate goal isn't just personal peace, it's framed as collective salvation. You came, we all came, for the salvation of the world, as one text puts it. By salvaging the apparently separate parts, by recognizing your unity with them, you help heal the entire collective mind.
All right, we've laid a lot of groundwork here. Understanding the illusion, the role of the ego, the absolute necessity of radical forgiveness and living in grace. Now we can finally properly define the destination, this sacred ecstatic union. It's got ancient roots, some heavy-duty terminology.
It does, and it connects all these different source materials beautifully. You see it called Sacred Union, Hios Gamos, sometimes the Sacrament of the Bridal Chamber.
Okay.
Historically, mythologically, these terms point to a sacred marriage. Sometimes it's between two deities like heaven and earth mythology. More relevant for us, perhaps it can be between a human and God, or between two humans who recognize each other as, well, as soul halves.
Soul halves, twin souls.
That kind of idea. It's described consistently as the ultimate alchemy, a process that harmonizes polar opposites, male-female, light-dark, and dissolves all duality.
And this isn't just some abstract idea, right? The sources connect it to actual historical figures almost.
They do, and it gives it this cosmic significance. You have legends like King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba. The story goes they met specifically to perform the Hyros Gamos because they recognized each other as twin souls. Their union was meant to ground divine energy on Earth.
Wow.
But maybe the clearest narrative explaining the why comes from Gnostic texts.
Gnosticism.
Right.
Tell us about that connection, maybe the Pistis Sophia.
Okay, so in Gnosticism, reality starts in the pleroma, the fullness, the perfect divine realm. Sophia, who represents the feminine aspect of God, wisdom, light, she makes a mistake. She yearns to know the Father outside his will, tries to grasp something beyond her capacity.
Okay.
This yearning leads to her fall, her descent into Kenoma, the emptiness, the lower realms, basically the material world we experience. Her fall creates separation, suffering, darkness.
So she's lost, separated from the divine light.
Exactly. And the Pistis Sophia text details her long journey, her repentance, her search for the light she lost. And crucially, it describes the mission of the Logos, the masculine light, the Christ principle sent down to find her, to help her, to bring her back.
So they're longing to reunite. That's the engine behind this whole sacred union mystery.
It's the cosmic blueprint. Their powerful magnetic pull towards each other mirrors our own soul's deep desire to heal duality and merge back into wholeness. They represent those original polarities that got split.
And the idea is this cosmic pull won't stop until we all individually find that union.
That's the implication in some texts. Until each part falls back into ecstatic union with God, completing the original divine plan. So sacred union isn't just a nice idea. It's woven into the fabric of creation, explaining the division we feel.
That definitely makes the separation feel less random, less like a cosmic accident. So the core idea is original creation, one soul, two aspects. They split. Twin souls.
Correct. And that split created the dualities we live with, male-female, active-receptive, light-dark. There's a fascinating description from Pleiadian channeled material about this initial split.
Oh, what do they say?
They describe the original oneness fragmenting into two main aspects, The surrender dreamer, think receptive, feminine principle, and the awake witness presence, the active, focused, masculine principle. That first division of the original androgynous self created the polarities that eventually manifested as biological sex.
And the split wasn't a mistake either. It had a purpose.
Exactly. The purpose was to set up this eternal dynamic of creation, separation, and reunion. The sources talk about the Elohim couple's Holy Mother, Holy Father figures as the primary creators. Their union, their constant merging, is shown as the way back to oneness.
So gender itself was born from this divine union.
According to this cosmology, yes. Born during the first union of these two great aspects. The whole point of this cosmic dance division and reunion is to inspire everything in creation to grow, learn, wake up to its own divinity by recognizing and merging with its other halves.
Okay, so if that's the cosmic background, what unlocks this specific high-level union for individuals? The sources mention three specific keys, right? Three flames.
Yes, exactly. And this union, which, again, some sources say is only fully possible for twin souls who are really committed to being light bearers for the planet. It requires a perfect meeting, a perfect blend of three distinct forces, like three wires needing to connect.
Yeah.
Key number one, passionate sexual energy. This is the raw power, the creative force, the power flame, sometimes called sikkim.
Okay, power.
Key number two, love. And this isn't just romantic affection. It's defined as fathomless love, deep devotion, rapture, way beyond conditions or past hurts. This is the love flame.
Power, love. And the third.
Key number three, soulful longing for atonement with God. This is the wisdom flame. It's that deep, conscious desire to return to oneness, recognizing that nothing material compares to that union.
Right, power, love, and wisdom. And the sources have a pretty stark warning about getting this balance wrong, don't they? Specifically about focusing only on the first key.
A very crucial warning. It stated explicitly that for centuries, many mystics, occultists, people seeking power, they tried to use only sexual energy, key one, the power flame, to achieve illumination or control.
And it didn't work.
It backfired spectacularly, leading to what the texts call a tremendous distortion of intention. It often ended up in just hedonism or ego-driven power plays, even black magic, because the raw power wasn't guided by love and wisdom.
So you need all three. Power without love and wisdom is dangerous.
Precisely. The wisdom is clear. Only through the power of love, which naturally integrates the wisdom and directs the power, only then can the gates of true sacred union open. Only then can you have that holy matrimony, the reunification of the soul.
Okay, so if sacred union is the goal, and we need power, love, and wisdom, how does the actual practice work? How do you prepare the body, the consciousness for this kind of merger? It gets into the energetic mechanics, right? Treating the body like a device.
Exactly. The physical body, the cot, has to be prepared. It needs to become a suitable container. The sources often reference the Egyptian model of subtle bodies, traditionally 10 of them.
10 bodies. Wow.
Yeah, the cot is just the mortal part. It's waiting to be filled, animated by the forces of the other bodies, like the Ka, the spirit double or life force, and the Aku, the immortal radiant spirit, the resurrection body.
So the physical body's job is to conduct this energy.
It acts as an electrical transformer for these higher frequencies. But the problem is, for most people, it's running at really low capacity.
Why is that?
Mental and consumption interferences. Basically, negative thinking, judgments, holding on to grievances, plus poor diet, maybe consuming that low-vibe media we talked about, it all gums up the works energetically. It lowers your vibration.
And prevents the light bodies from integrating properly.
Right. So clearing the mind through forgiveness and purifying the body allows these, well, sharp intrusions of electrical energy to start flowing correctly.
And this connects to activating something called the caduceus within the body.
Yes, the caduceus, that classic symbol, the staff with two snakes winding up it, associated with Hermes or Thoth, with healing. It represents an energetic pathway being activated inside you.
Okay.
It involves the rising energies connecting key glands in the brain, particularly the pineal, the pituitary, and the hypothalamus. The pineal gland is seen as the master conductor.
The seed of the soul sometimes.
Exactly, and the sources are clear. The health and full activation of the pineal gland is a direct requirement for achieving full-body tantric ecstasy, which in turn is the frequency state needed for what they call ascension or Christ consciousness. It's like the antenna that has to be tuned to receive and transmit that massive electrical charge of union.
Let's talk more about the energy itself. The sources are pretty blunt, saying God energy is sexual energy. That's a controversial reframing for many.
It is. It asks us to see sexual energy not just as biological drive, but as the fundamental stuff of which existence is both made and sustained. the raw creative force itself.
But how it shows up depends on your consciousness.
Drastically. On your intention, your level of awareness. The archetypes involved are important here too. The text described the feminine principle in her highest form as the queen, the flame of wisdom, desiring to meet her true masculine counterpart, the magician.
The magician, the one who can handle the energy.
The one who can consciously transmute and direct that powerful Sikkim energy with wisdom and love, not just instinct.
Okay. And to work with this energy properly, the sources make a distinction between different kinds of orgasm. This seems key to shifting from purely physical to spiritual practice.
It's a critical distinction. First, there's what most people experience, the cod orgasm, the orgasm of the material body. It's fueled by that fiery passion Sikkim, the primal urge. Often it's quick, focused externally.
Right. And the other kind?
The cod orgasm,
Yeah.
the orgasm of the spirit body. This is described as an internal, sustained, whole-body energy event, a release and circulation of blissful energy achieved through very specific internal practices.
Okay, so how do you get that one? What are the mechanics?
It requires focused inner work during intimacy. Specifically, pranayama's specialized conscious breathing techniques combined with engaging the pelvic floor muscles, the root lock. In yoga, it's called mula bandha.
Mula bandha.
Okay. These techniques awaken dormant energy, pull life force up from the lower centers, and pulse it up the spine, the central channel, nourishing the whole subtle energy system. The mula bandha is crucial. It stops the energy just leaking out and forces it upwards to the higher centers.
Which leads us to the actual practice of paired union, what some texts call controlled intercourse, or the sacrament of the bridal chamber. This is where two people synchronize their energy fields.
Yes, they become one combined energetic transformer. The core practice focuses intensely on synchronizing the breath while mating. And the posture is important face-to-face. Eye-to-eye contact is recommended.
Why eye contact?
For deep soul recognition, to keep the connection focused on love and spirit, not just sensation. And the breathing, the pranayama, has to be synchronized. There's a specific visualization.
Okay, let's get that visualization clear.
As you both inhale, together, you visualize the energy coming in through the nose, traveling down the front of the body, pooling in the genital area, gathering that raw Sikkim power.
Inhale down the front, okay.
Then, as you both exhale, together, you visualize that energy rising up the back, along the spine, all the way to the crown of the head, and then completing the circuit by flowing forward to the third eye area, between the eyebrows.
So it's a continuous loop. Inhale down the front, exhale up the back.
A complete energetic circuit intended to light up the central channel and the whole nervous system.
And doing the circuit together, that's what activates the Kundalini.
Yes, that shared conscious breath pattern actively stirs the Kundalini, which is described not as something scary, but as a spiritual elixir, rising up the spine in a delicious wave of bliss.
Delicious wave of bliss.
And this energy is so powerful, so transformative, it can apparently move the physical body in ways you don't expect.
Like involuntary movements.
Yeah, the back might arch on its own, the hips might start moving spontaneously, shoulders rolling. The body is literally adjusting itself to handle this huge flow of spiritual force.
That sounds incredibly intense, and the sources say you're not even doing it alone, there's non-physical help.
That's a fascinating detail, isn't it? The texts mention non-physical aid, that beings from higher realms, guides, angels, whatever you conceive them as, they actively rally around couples engaged in this deeply loving atmosphere.
They help out?
They help shift energies, provide guidance, almost accelerate the process, because this union is seen as fundamentally an act of service, grounding divine light into the physical world.
And this is a big but. The sources are really, really clear that you can't just jump into this. The emotional prep work is huge.
Immense. They are very firm. This practice is impossible if you're coming from fear, if you're closed off, defensive, guarded. It requires, quote, considerable preliminary work.
Work on what?
On acceptance, openness, fearlessness, and just deep, unwavering faith. Faith in the process, faith in your partner, faith in the divine. It's not a technique you can just try out one weekend. It demands a complete overhaul of how you relate emotionally.
And the number one prerequisite seems to be radical emotional honesty. Not just in the bedroom, but everywhere. Defenselessness is the word used.
Defenselessness has to become your default state. The logic is stark. You cannot possibly open your most sacred, vulnerable, energetic space during intimacy if you're shut down, defensive, and dishonest outside of it.
Makes sense.
The advice is, tell your partner exactly how you feel. Speak your truth. Act as if you cannot be hurt by their reaction. Because the argument in these channel texts is that all relationship pain comes from lack of communication. from secrets, withheld feelings, avoiding truth to avoid conflict, not from speaking honestly.
So if I'm dishonest or closed off in daily life, the sacred union practice will just fail. The energy won't flow.
It can't flow through those emotional dams. And if one partner does hit a wall, gets triggered into fear or egoic resentment, the other partner's job is to hold the space, to hold the light of love and sanity, allowing the darkness to dissolve without reacting in fear or judgment themselves.
That takes incredible maturity from both people.
Absolutely. Which leads to the final critical point, vibrational alignment, the source's flat-out state. You cannot do this alone in a relationship.
Meaning both partners have to be equally committed to this path.
Or at least on a similar wavelength, deeply involved in their own self-realization work. You attract and can only truly merge with a mate of a similar vibration. If you want this kind of transformed love life, the inner work, the forgiveness, the ego dismantling has to come first, always. Individual work first, then shared sacred practice.
Wow. Okay, we've covered a massive amount of ground. From realizing the world is an illusion, to the necessity of radical forgiveness, to the incredibly detailed mechanics of energetic union. Now we get to the payoff, the core focus. What are the actual benefits? What's the harvest from achieving this sacred ecstatic union?
The benefits are described as manifesting across every level, body, mind, spirit. It's the fulfillment of that goal of total oneness. And starting with personal transformation, perhaps the most immediate and tangible benefit mentioned is profound physical healing.
Physical healing, how so?
The sources state it very plainly. Bodies just naturally heal themselves instantly and continuously when the mind is dwelling in that peaceful energy created by non-judgment and forgiveness.
So, does that extend to serious conditions, things like cancer?
The premise presented is yes. That sickness, including severe illnesses like cancer, is essentially hatred or conflict made physical. It's the body's cells manifesting the mind's war, often an inner war between ego and self, or a long-held festering resentment.
So inner peace removes the cause.
It removes the energetic template for the illness. Achieving this state of non-judgment brings peaceful, harmonious alignment right down to the cellular level. And the result over time is described as extreme health. The body stops attacking itself when the mind stops attacking reality.
Beyond physical health, the subjective experience sounds incredibly intense. Words like rapture and bliss are used.
Yeah, and rapture isn't talked about as, some end times event. It's defined as a state experienced in this life, a heightened state of being lifted up, almost transfigured.
Lifted up how?
It's described as an overwhelming experience of divine love, hitting you in profound moments of realizing your oneness with God. And it's so tangible, so electrically potent, it can actually feel like it's hurting the physical body.
Hurting? Why?
Just because of the sheer scale of the divine energy, the massive voltage passing through the limited human form. It's an intensity far beyond ordinary pleasure. And this state, this bliss, this capacity for divine love and divine sex, this is what the sources say, Western culture is often chasing incorrectly through buying more stuff, seeking external validation.
But it can only be found internally through this path of union and forgiveness?
That's the claim. Your life inevitably shifts towards sustained joy and vibrant health when you align with this path.
Okay, so personal healing, profound bliss. What about expanding consciousness, moving beyond our usual limitations?
Absolutely. That's a huge part of the harvest. The whole journey is fundamentally about reunifying the fragmented soul, harmonizing those inner opposites, achieving that atonement, that oneness with God.
And as the energy clears, psychic abilities increase.
Practitioners report a dramatic increase in what we call psychic phenomena. This isn't necessarily about predicting lottery numbers, but things like clear channeling, receiving guidance or knowledge directly.
Okay.
Bursts of creative inspiration, maybe automatic writing, painting, music just flowing through, and just a growing profound appreciation for the sheer depth of your own being. You stop feeling bored or empty because you're tapping into the infinite mind and heart of God.
The sources also mention dream work specifically. How does that fit in?
Dreams, according to these teachings, aren't just random brain noise. They're seen as a space where the soul, or the spirit, actually rehearses experiences it wants to understand or fulfill in waking life.
Rehearses, like practicing.
Yeah, like trying things out. There are apparently real, non-physical locations you visit in your dreams.
Yeah.
You go there to work things out, decide if an experience is needed for your growth, maybe even set the stage for manifesting it in the physical world.
So working on forgiveness in waking life cleans up your dream life.
It refines the dream state. And a clearer dream state, in turn, gives you access to innate knowledge and hidden secrets. It becomes another tool for rapidly accelerating your spiritual growth.
Okay, finally, the really big picture, the ultimate purpose. This individual union isn't just for the couple involved, is it? It's presented as something crucial for the whole planet.
It's positioned as the highest form of service you can offer. The idea is that when people open these channels of sexual energy correctly, purely from love, wisdom, non-judgment, they become the most kind and gentle beings.
Their only desire is to help.
Their singular desire becomes simply to be of service
Hmm.
to others, to the world. And the massive high-frequency love that is generated in this true sacred union, that is what the world desperately needs to heal. To counteract the hatred, the wars, the suffering, is like tangible proof, grounded in the physical, that separation and judgment are illusions that never lead to peace.
And the ultimate individual goal is ascension, reaching what's called Christ consciousness. What does that mean here?
Christ consciousness, or universal consciousness, it's not about adhering to a specific religion in this context. It signifies attaining total, unwavering peace that requires the mind to be completely healed of the illusion that it's separate from anything or anyone. It's fully embodying the awareness of oneness.
And the practice itself generates the frequency for that.
Yes, this consistent, disciplined practice of love, forgiveness, and energetic merging leads directly, they say, to generating full-body tantric ecstasy. And that specific frequency is what's necessary for ascension.
And ascension means
In this context, it's the vibrational shift, where the subtle light bodies fully merge with and transmute the physical cot body, turning the body into pure light energy, essentially. The highest aspiration described is literally to arise from the dust and ascend as the son of universal suns,
wow, radiating divine love, peace, joy.
radiating it throughout all existence, becoming a source that transforms the collective dream from within. It's a staggering vision of human potential. Hashtag tag 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 outro.
So our deep dive today into sacred ecstatic union.
Well, it's shown us this ancient mystery is so much more than just romance or a set of techniques, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely not.
It really demands a complete dismantling of our belief in separation and the finality of physical reality. And the tool for that deconstruction is radical, non-judgmental forgiveness.
Which then opens the door to this intense energetic merging, transcending the physical.
Exactly. Culminating in profound personal healing, yes, but aiming ultimately at achieving the very frequency needed for, well, planetary salvation and full spiritual awakening or ascension. It's a huge scope.
It really is. And it feels like all these different traditions, AC, Gnostic ideas, Egyptian mysteries, they all seem to boil down to one fundamental and maybe quite courageous choice that you, the seeker, have to make.
What's that choice?
It's the choice to let go. Let go of the ego's constant demand for safety, for control, for material things, for all those fear-based habits, and instead choose again and again, moment by moment, to believe the core premise.
That you are love.
That you are love because God is love, and there's nothing else he could use to create you. Realizing that seems to be the first step out of the dream.
Beautifully put. And if that's true, if the source of all our suffering really is just separation anxiety from God, from oneness, and the only way home is this radical, self-driven forgiveness, well, that leaves us with a really potent final thought for you, our listener, to mull over.
What is one single belief you hold about the world? Or maybe one specific nagging resentment you have towards someone? Just one thing that you could choose right now to just visualize putting that white light around, to practice forgiving that one thing as that first decisive step back towards total oneness.